Hello, ladies and gentlemen! This is the Mystery Writer speaking, and welcome to the show! Can we just say that episode 4 of this season of Battlebots is by far the best one so far? Oh my gosh, the fights have gone to another level. It's that insane. Let me tell you, this had the best fights of the season so far, and I loved it. Well, first up, we had probably the fight that raised the bar. It was Duck versus Cobalt. Now, in the beginning of the fight, Cobalt was absolutely dominant with its superior wedge, which scraped along ground. It launched Duck into the air several times, maybe about 6-8 feet into the air, over and over again. It was absolutely insane. I was watching this fight with my parents, and my mother, who is not a Battlebots fan, she's not really into this sort of stuff, she was amazed by all of this. She thought Cobalt was a flipper by how high he was throwing Duck into the air. Oh. But yet, Duck proved to be completely durable. Up until the point in where his face was literally ripped off. It was absolutely insane. Oh, and then we probably had the most anticlimactic ending possible for this fight. Because of how low the wedge that was on Cobalt was, scraping along the floor. I heard from Mr. Psycho's channel, as well as Robert Cohen, that the floor in Battlebots this year was just complete garbage. Lots of people were having traction issues, and apparently a lot of people were having wedge issues, because Cobalt drove itself under a steel plate. He drove himself under a steel plate. It got himself so stuck. He was counted out. He couldn't drive out. And so Duck won by default, pretty much. Because he just outlasted Cobalt. That's what Duck does the best. He outlasts you. The thing is a dang brick. And despite the fact that he won the fight, he lost his face. But yeah, geez, this was such a good fight. Such a good fight. All right, and next we have Rotator versus Bombshell. I thought Bombshell was going to win this fight because Rotator has had some problems against vertical spinners. I mean, can we forget about how messed up Rotator got against Bite Force last year? In the beginning of the fight, Bombshell was completely the dominant robot. It got in the first punch, it box rushed Rotator, but Rotator, he took it like a champ, and he outlasted Bombshell. Not only that, but Rotator actually managed to get to the wheels of Bombshell. First, one of the front wheels, I think it was on the left side, and then to one of the back wheels. After Rotator literally sent Bombshell flying across the battle box, it actually ripped off one of the bottom panels of Bombshell at the very last second of the count. He immobilized, he didn't immobilize, he killed Bombshell. My gosh, that was an epic fight. It's Nelly, the Ribot, versus Rainbow. Rainbow is a robot that I've been looking forward to. I've been following this team on social media for a few months now. I found their YouTube channel. Still haven't given that link. Anyways, and Nelly. Nelly's a robot that a lot of people were excited about, but I included Nelly in my controversial top 5 worst robots coming to 2019 list. I put him at number 4. But I did not know the backstory of Nelly. The builder, the team captain, she was a bus driver, one of those double-decker buses. And apparently, in order to finish the robot, she actually did a GoFundMe page. So I didn't know all about that, so I apologize for saying that the robot sucks before. I apologize. But one criticism of mine that actually proved to be correct was the wedge. I said in my video that the wedge looks like it'll just catch horizontal spinners and force them up into the main body of Nelly. And it turns out that's exactly what happened. Despite the fact that Rainbow got off at a very slow start and its weapon didn't look like it spun at full speed, it still spun enough to completely decimate Nelly. Hit after hit after hit. Nelly was torn apart. Poor Nelly. Oh, that was a good fight. That was a really good fight. I hope Nelly gets rebuilt. Hope we actually get to see the bonker in action. Still don't think that's that good of a weapon, but that's just me. And Rainbow's looking good. Rainbow's looking really good. Now, we got Quantum versus Lockjaw. I thought that Quantum was going to win this fight because as if you've seen any of the episodes from King of Bots, you've seen how they've dealt with vertical spinners in the past. But then again, none of the teams that were in King of Bots were Donald Hudson, one of the best robot drivers in the history of the sport. And so that's pretty much what happened. Donald Hudson outdrove Quantum. They were able to get underneath him several times, but each and every time he would slip out of their grasp before they can bite down. And eventually, they knocked down this little wedge attachment thing that's on the front of Quantum, causing some drive issues. And then they got along. Then Donald Hudson got Lockjaw to the side of Quantum and knocked out the drive. But that wasn't enough for Donald Hudson. No. He eventually just flipped Quantum onto its head. And Quantum was just dead. He was counted out, and it was a victory for Lockjaw, which is great. Now both robots are 1-1, but both are still looking really good. Now, we got Kraken versus Blacksmith. Again, these are two of my favorite robots. Kraken's one of the most improved robots this season, and Blacksmith has always been a joy. It's been a part of some of the greatest fights in Battlebots history, especially in the Reboot series. But Al Rucker is definitely feeling the pressure because he just wants a win. He just wants a win, man. He's gotten 2 in the 2 seasons that he's been here. Just let the man have a win. But anyways, this was definitely not Blacksmith's usual fight because he came in aggressive at the beginning of the fight. He dominated the first minute and 30 seconds, maybe minute 40 seconds of the fight. He knocked Kraken over on its head a few times, banged him with the hammer over and over again. Despite the fact that the hammer's not really a damaging weapon, it did manage to cause a few cosmetic dents to some of the metal plating on the head of Kraken. But then Kraken got a hold of Blacksmith a few times, got him into the screws, the pulverizer, and yeah, really not much to say. It was just a complete slugfest of a fight, and then it came down to a judge's decision, and it was a split decision. Lisa Winters went with Kraken. Jason Bardis went with Blacksmith. And Derek Young from the Complete Control team went with the winner, Blacksmith. Now again, this was one of the 2 fights, aka one of the 2 fights that I did not know was going to happen on Friday until until the very last minute, and so I barely snuck it in. But anyways, yeah, that was about it. Now we got the fight that I thought was going to be a complete no-brainer. I mean, heck, everyone in the show thought this was going to be a complete no-brainer. It was In-Game versus Ribot. Ribot got completely bullied by Kraken in his last fight. This is a college team. They gave up a semester of school in order to build a robot. And In-Game, everyone knows In-Game. In-Game is one of the coolest robots. Started off great in 2018, but has had terrible luck ever since. And this year is no exception. They lost their first fight to Death Roll after starting off completely dominant. Now, everyone, especially Kenny, thought Ribot was insane. Everyone thought, and Kenny was the one to point this out, that Ribot was insane for their choice of weapon for this fight. They went with their vertical spinner, and their plan was simple. They were going to go weapon and weapon and see who dies first. Everyone thought they were insane. Everyone thought the Ribot team was insane. But the plan worked. They went weapon to weapon, and despite the fact that In-Game once again started off the more dominant robot, Ribot never backed down. They kept coming at In-Game, kept coming at him over and over and over and over again, until eventually it looked like, I wasn't sure if it was a drive belt or the motor belt for the weapon came off, but eventually In-Game lost drive on one side of the robot, and Ribot killed it. Ribot killed In-Game. It was the most surprising fight of the night, and it was epic. Good job to Ribot. I am so sorry for ever doubting Ribot. I am so sorry for ever doubting you guys. You have a durable machine, and it works wonders. In-Game, I hope you improve. But they said they might end up going with the Desperado route for this year, and honestly, I don't blame them. All right, time for the main event. It's Tombstone versus SawBlaze. Now, SawBlaze came into this fight with a simple plan. They were going to use the same kind of configuration that they used against Rotator. They were going in with that extended wedge, which is made out of tank steel, and it had those little rubber curtain things extending behind it. And for the first few seconds of the fight, everything was going according to plan. They pushed him into the wall, caused him to go on their side, and then they were just about to push him into the corner when suddenly the pulverizer out of nowhere intervened and tripped up SawBlaze long enough for Tombstone and Ray Billings to come back, spin up, and completely destroy SawBlaze bit by bit. Again, I really would have liked to have seen SawBlaze win, but again, this was just a really good fight, a bit of an anticlimactic ending, but this just shows why Tombstone is such a dominant robot. It just shows why Ray Billings is the one to beat. So yeah, this has been the review for this week, and until next time, sayonara!